Okay, now I'm back. This video is in reference to, and I should have tagged the people, but I don't know if he was gay or bisexual content creator made a video about a woman who basically disagreed as a heterosexual woman to having a relationship with a bisexual man. And the woman's video was so truthful, and it comes to how people interchangeably use words that sound or might seem to mean the same, but they don't. And in this particular case, it is phobia versus preference. And she was right. Me having a degree in mental health, a phobia is a fear of something, a dead fear. And, homophobia is nothing to be taken lightly. Don't get me wrong. But it's not a phobia if you don't agree with the topic that I just said, a heterosexual woman being in a relationship with a bisexual man. It is not a phobia, it is a preference, as this woman was saying. Just like you have preferences in height, economic status, religious beliefs, physical appearance. I'm not every man's type. Every man is not my type. But I'm somebody's type. It's just that simple. And sexual orientation has to be also one of those things as far as preference goes. In addition to her talking about that, one of the fears that I'm a heterosexual woman, one of the fears that women have as a heterosexual is the fidelity of being with a man who is bisexual, because not all men, but many men are not faithful in relationships. So in our minds, we're thinking, wait a minute, we have to fight the women and we have to fight the men. Did he cheat on me with a man? Did he cheat on me with a woman? We don't want to be in a relationship where he's even heterosexual and cheating on you with a woman, let alone you have both genders to contend with. Also, another thing that comes to your mind as a heterosexual woman, a bisexual partner, is the fact that you have no idea if a man friend is a real man friend or a sexual partner. And I would think that even if you were a lesbian or a homosexual man in a relationship with a bisexual person, if that's what you choose to be, these are still questions that you would have regardless of the orientation. It's like, can I trust you? Because again, we know the mindset of some men. There are certain, men can be aroused by anything. Men can be, and I'm not saying some women aren't either, but majority of the time, the man is going to be the person who succumbs to a sexual desire quicker than a woman does. And it's unfortunate, but it's a sad truth. So these are the things that are pondering people's mind when we are questioning or doubt that we want to be in a relationship as a heterosexual woman with a bisexual man, because we know the vices that this person are probably going to have to deal with. And it's very questionable. It's very questionable. And it's a scary thing because you don't know who is what or what is what. And, and it makes sense. And it's not even just about getting an illness or a sickness. It's about also the fidelity, that person being faithful and honest to you, truthful to the relationship. And I'm a loyal person, and loyalty and faithfulness are not the same. Faithful is you being able to go into a room, you see people for what they are, and you can walk out of that room without having an encounter. You can be loyal and still not be faithful. You can be loyal and stay in the relationship, stay in the contract, and not be faithful. Faith, the substance of things not seen, but it exists. That's faith. If you can't trust your partner or a person to do something, you don't have faith that they would make the right decision, that's a scary thing, that you don't want to be in a relationship with them. You don't. You just don't. So it is not a phobia, a fear of bisexualness or homosexuality. It is just a preference that you don't get it, because there are some women who date bisexual men, and I can understand that if you're doing the things to protect yourself as you would in a heterosexual relationship. Also, the fact that, you know, these men are DL. Yeah, he can say he's a bisexual man, but he could also be playing the DL field. He could be heterosexual with you all day long, again, and still be on the down low. And that's nerve-wracking. It's like any cheating spouse. Nobody wants to deal with it. And that is the fear that we have. It's not the homophobia. It's the fear of being cheated on by either gender, with either gender. And lastly, if you have an open relationship with a bisexual person, it needs to be something that is, you have a mutual agreement that it's going to be an open relationship. It shouldn't be any surprises at all. There should be some limits and boundaries, if that's what you choose. Again, that's a preference to have an open relationship. And it's not a phobia of being faithful to someone necessarily because it's an open relationship. It's just that you're living your true self and being free to be with whoever you want to be with romantically. But if you don't give a person the choice to make a decision on what their preference is, then that's unfair. That's not fair. And that is the fear that people have who are heterosexual, heterosexual women, because you don't ever hear an issue with men, and I'm not saying that again that didn't exist, heterosexual men being in a relationship with a bisexual woman. There's never a question, there's never a debate with people, with the men, the heterosexual men, about bisexual people. But, your mind races, because it's like, as a heterosexual, a heterosexual man will sleep with this woman, that woman, and before you know it, you're not sleeping with one person, you sleep with all these people, all these spirits. And there's a spirit too. Ooh, that's a whole nother topic. Don't get me started. But anyways, to each his own, but just be true to yourself and give people the option to make a decision on what they want, what their preference is. And also, you need to be prepared for what their preference is. It may not be what you want, but at least you're being fair to that person. So, y'all have a good night. I'm done for now. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. Good night. Bye. My battery's low anyway.